Hi, everybody. It's Susan again, and this time I have some good news. Very happy to be able to show some glimmers of hope and some bright spots in the month ahead. And this allows us also to kind of go forward with plans that we might have been churning up in the last couple of months, but not really able or willing to make some serious progress in because things were changing so often. Um, so if you don't know me, my name is Susan Hopkinson. I'm a consulting astrologer even, and I don't do very many videos on YouTube because actually I'm busy behind the scenes. I'm writing a book and I'm also doing consulting with clients, which is what I do best and what I enjoy the most. So you'll find me here occasionally. Don't expect more than usually once or twice at the very most a week. But also I want to thank the one person who has donated to my channel for uploading these videos because I don't monetize my channel, and so it really does help me. If you want to donate, there is some information below this video. It's no obligation. I do this to let you know about me and also to let you know about what you can understand and learn from in the astrology, because I do really find astrology extremely helpful from a therapeutic perspective, especially, and especially in terms of personal growth or spiritual growth, which is the way I work with people. So let's have a look at what's coming up. Today is the last day of April. As I'm doing this video, Mars is just at the very last degree of Pisces, but in the afternoon at 16:33 Universal Time, it is going to move into the Aries point. The very beginning of the zodiac, the 0 degree point of Aries, is known as the Aries point because that is the place that we begin the zodiac at the spring or the vernal equinox. And so when Mars crosses into Aries, it also gains enormous dignity because it's not so happy in Pisces. It's comfortable, a bit too comfortable often to take action or to take appropriate action. But in Aries, Mars is all systems go. And so you will find also that you have a lot more dynamism, and you'll see a lot more dynamism around you in terms of getting stuff moving forward. And so what may have felt like churning frustration over the last couple of months, probably 6 weeks or so, is now going to turn into outright action for good or bad in the wider world, but you can turn that into something extremely helpful in your own life. Now, this is especially wherever you find Aries in your chart. I'm not going to do the sign by sign at this point. I just really wanted to highlight some of these really fantastic opportunities that we have this month. The other thing is that the day before Mars moved into Aries, Venus moved into her sign of Taurus, and Venus loves being in Taurus. It's her daytime residence, and she is going to then become a better source of, let's say, connection or abundance than she was in Aries, where Venus can be a little bit rushed or impatient, very single-minded, very independent, which of course can have its plus sides, but it's not super for, let's say, diplomacy, for example, not very helpful. And so when Venus moves into Taurus, there's a desire to be more helpful, a desire to be more friendly. She still rules the South Node until January, so now she's gaining some dignity, and that can also mean that the way that the South Node moves through Libra is also going to be a bit more constructive, more helpful, and less tormented, less challenging, because it's going to be a little bit more conciliatory, we could say. Harmonious, maybe a good word as well. As Venus moved into Taurus, she immediately squared Pluto. So, of course, anytime a planet now ingresses any sign for 2024 and some of 2025, it's going to come up against Pluto in one way or another. In this case, because it's another fixed sign, the fixed signs are Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. So, because Venus is in Taurus and Pluto is in Aquarius, they are creating a fixed square. And that can generate some real interest around finances or relationships in your personal life, again, depending where these things are happening. But it can be very constructive. It's kind of like putting stuff on the table that needs to be dealt with and dealing with it. Pluto is where we find things get real, get exposed in some way or another. And as the moon is also there as of today, she's also squaring the moon. So the square to Pluto is developing over the next couple of days and will be exact on the 1st of May. But she is also squaring the moon. So these transits are, especially with a little bit faster moving planets like Venus and Mars, you can add about 2 days on either side of the exact. So the exact day for Venus will be the 1st of May when she squares Pluto, and the moon will be gone by then. But it's already in action, so you can definitely take that on board. And when Venus squares the moon, there can be some tension in relationships, or there can be, again, some tension in terms of our desire based on what we actually want to achieve or what we're feeling or how we're thinking about things. The moon represents our mind and our emotional nature, our psychological nature. But it's also boosted, let's say. I'm going to say it's all positive this month. I'm not going to be negative. Some people think I'm too negative. So here we go. Boosted by Mars being sextile to both the moon and Pluto. And so you can think of this as a dynamic aspect that allows for a certain amount of desire for progress, a desire for things to change. Now, Venus is semi-sextiling that Mars, so it can be coming from a place of discomfort, but it will bring something positive because both Mars and Venus are really in their happy place, and they'll give much better results than we've been getting over the last few weeks. So definitely see what you need to do around money, around relationships, or around also values. This is, of course, a really big thing. When Pluto is in Aquarius, it's completely transforming our social scenario, our way of interacting with each other. Society as a whole will be completely transformed over the next 20 years. I'm not going to go into it because I'm supposed to be all rainbows and unicorns today, so I won't go into that. But anyway, just in your own life, sort out whatever needs to be sorted out. You're a big boy or big girl, and you know what needs to be dealt with, and you're really entering into a phase where you can deal constructively with so many things. So make the most of these days. And so we're starting right off the bat, right at the top of the month, with some fantastic opportunities. So we can almost say that May begins on the 30th of April. we're gonna put April behind us, and we're gonna go straight in for May. We're gonna drop a day off of April and say, let's go right into May. And certainly May the 1st is a really big day in Europe. It's a day where people exchange flowers, especially muguet or the lily of the valley, and it's very much about celebrating people who work hard for a living. And so you can also pat yourself on the back if you're one of those people, and honor people who do work hard, because our world has forgotten many people who work hard. And Mars in Aries is all about hard work, getting stuff done, really getting stuff done. And especially with Venus in Taurus, it's about acknowledgement and gratitude, and finding something of a way of expressing one's connection to all of the good things, let's say, of life, the things that bring us benefit. So smile at your bus driver, smile at the person behind the bar or the barista, and pick up a piece of trash from the side of the road, or whatever it is that you can do that makes the world a little bit of a brighter place in this week for everybody, because we are really entering into a phase where we can find a space to improve our situation. But we need to take action on it. Mars in Aries doesn't sit around. It's not loafing around on the couch. So with Venus squaring the moon, Mars sextiling the moon at the same time, this is Mars's day, by the way. Mars, Tuesday, it doesn't sound much like Mars, but if you listen to the Latin languages, you hear Mars in all of the words for Tuesday. Mardi in French, for example. And so Mars's day is when we can also celebrate Mars every week. Venus's day is Friday, so we won't be celebrating her as strongly until Friday. But nonetheless, you can think of it this way, as it's a kind of an extra dynamism that Mars is coming into the Aries point on its own day, which I think is actually a really wonderful celebration of a need for change. Mars in Aries likes to keep things fresh. It's a pioneering energy. It's about doing something in a different way. And we're only getting this Mars in Aries every 2 years. It's not like it's hanging around like Mercury coming back and forth, or like the moon every month. It's Mars in Aries every 2 years. So let's enjoy this very new opportunity for change. Um, with the Pluto moon conjunction, as it's coming up, we can really use this to our personal benefit, to understand personal frustrations, psychological or emotional frustrations, and anything that feels like a shadow. So Pluto, wherever it comes close, it's going to show us where we're not being honest with ourselves, most especially, or where there's a truth to be uncovered, to be learned and dealt with. Now, when we're looking at Pluto and the moon, it can have temporarily, but we're not going to talk about that in this report, some little gray clouds every now and then, but it won't last because the moon flashes by. It's a few hours at the most, and so don't worry about that. But it is an opportunity if you want, for example, to do some writing, because we also have Mercury, which is sandwiched between the North Node and Chiron in Aries, where Mars has just newly energized all of those planets. And that can show you where the energy of the eclipse was. You're now still processing all of that since the 8th of April. And seeing now where you might be able to express what you've understood about where you might be holding yourself back, perhaps through that Pluto moon, where you're realizing something about your shadow side or aspects of yourself that are not entirely honest with yourself or others, that are not recognizing the ulterior motives behind certain things, which actually then ends up sabotaging your own best interests. And so with the Chiron Mercury North Node, which is not an exact conjunction, but it will be the Chiron Mercury becomes exact on the 7th when we have a new moon. Why not? It is an opportunity for you to, at the very least, reflect on these things, how it is that in the last, let's say, 3 or 4 weeks, you have been becoming aware of aspects of yourself that aren't really helpful, or that through your own impatience or your own unprocessed anger, because we're talking about Aries here, you might be again, causing disruption within your life or around you in the lives of others. So an interesting time to be journaling, an interesting time to be in conversation, discussing these things with people, fully owning your own shit at the same time. And this is, if you want to project onto others, you will get a bit of a blowback from that Mars, and especially Mars in sextile to Pluto. So never a good plan at any time, but not this week. And so I want to come to that new moon. Let's just move a little bit ahead here. We're going to go day by day, and we're going to skip over the moon Saturn, because this is only supposed to be nice things, and it's a very short glimpse at the transits ahead. So on the 7th, I'm not even going to put it up exact. I don't know the exact time, but it'll be in the evening BST. I'm just trying to make this a really short video. I always think they are going to be short and they end up being way longer than I wanted them to be. But on that new moon day, which will be the 7th of May for just about everybody, we have this Chiron and Mercury exact, and that's again, as I mentioned, a really beautiful opportunity to acknowledge that there is something that you've understood, that you want to communicate, that you want to, at the very least, think about. But with Mercury in Aries, there can be this tendency to want to jump the gun and speak about something. I really wish that you would take this opportunity to really look inside, focusing on yourself, and notice where all around us there's a lot of projection. There's an enormous amount of projection going on socially, in all domains of life, and it sows discontent and separation. And so we really want to use the Aries quality, rather than lashing out or being reactionary. Use the Aries quality to look within at oneself Aries is all about the self, and deal with that. Deal with the stuff from the inside out, and you'll find that later as Mercury moves into Taurus, and you're really able to harmonize quite a lot, because Mercury is going to, of course, meet all those planets that are in Taurus. Although not entirely, I think not when they're in Taurus, maybe in Gemini, which is even better because then Mercury is in its rulership. Right, so the week of the 4th till the 8th, so from this weekend coming until just after that new moon is a really lovely time. It's going to be where we have this opportunity to really look within, to grow through these things, because Mars is at that time still in a sextile to Pluto, although it's separating. And that's really constructive. And Saturn will be sextiling this new moon, the 7th of May new moon, which means that whatever is done at this time, and especially Saturn in Pisces, ruled by Jupiter, it's got a high-minded sense of what you want to deal with and establish. And this can be establishing something in a way that's durable and lasting and has legs. It's got some gravitas behind it. So let's carry on here. We're going to go, so that whole week, basically, around that new moon is quite lovely. Then we get to the 13th of May. I'm not putting up exact times. I'm just throwing this out here day by day, because otherwise we'll be here for really over an hour. We do on the 13th have a moon opposite Pluto. Again, we're keeping this light and fluffy. So all I want to say is, again, it's another opportunity for you to look at your own emotional stuff. Especially with the moon in Leo. Again, once we look at the moon in Leo, it's all about how you either project your sense of self or center yourself in situations. Whereas with Pluto, it's like a laser beam looking at all of that energy and saying, maybe there's something that you need to change. Maybe there's something that you are going to benefit from dealing with in a way that is going to bring you deeper insight into your emotional sensitivities or your emotional circumstances. I'll leave that there. This is in a broad square to Mercury, so it does also involve quite a lot of thinking about things. And this is where the really interesting conjunctions start to emerge. We now have Uranus with the Sun. So on the 13th, and remember now, these things, you want to give a margin of 2 or even 3 days on either side. And especially if you have points around these degree points, if you have, for example, if your birthday is around these days, any birthday in May is going to be absolutely charmed in some way. My mother's born on the 16th of May. She's going to have a great birthday, 88 years old. And so there's a lot of really positive energy for birthdays, for the birthday boys and girls, and for also any points that are around these degree points that you're seeing here on the screen. And of course, the degree points are the bigger numbers, and the minutes within the degree are the smaller numbers. And so as we have that Sun and Uranus very, very close, like within a degree, just over a degree of the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, we're seeing now, or understanding, or recognizing, or ready for new action, or a new sense of understanding around the purpose, or getting the purpose, let's say, of that conjunction, which was on the 20th, 21st of April. And so that Sun is going to be quite enlightening, quite literally. I think you'll already get something of that from the new moon, because there is already this energy building up towards that. But at the same time, now we're looking at this opportunity for deeper insights into what that conjunction, the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, meant for you in your experience. We have Venus in a sextile to Saturn. These are really interesting energies, again, for something concrete, something that you are ready to do with regards to relationships or money or your values, and in some way that is supported by something that's quite helpful, high-minded, and giving you a solid background. We need Saturn in our relationships. We need Saturn in our contracts and agreements, because otherwise they just don't get taken seriously. They're too wobbly. And so this is another bonus on that day. So again, a couple of days on either side will really show you where things are already taking place or smoothing out afterwards. As we go forward, then we get a couple of other really extraordinary conjunctions. Um, just a phenomenal day, which is the 18th of May. So again, if this is your solar return, for example, meaning your birthday is on or around the 18th of May, this is going to be quite a year ahead because this is imprinted into your into your birth chart for the year. Where to begin? Let's start with the moon, since it's the fastest moving planet. We have the moon and just moving into Libra on that day in a trine to Pluto. At the same time, the moon it will have just been in an opposition to Neptune. So moon trine Pluto is constructive with regards to whatever the moon squaring Pluto meant for you 2 weeks before. So at the beginning of the month, there at the beginning of May, whatever the thing was that was itchy around the moon squaring Pluto, now you're getting this sense of, okay, I get this now. I now know what to do about it, and I can harmonize that. This Pluto is also in a square to Mercury. Again, it's already been in orb for a couple of days, but it's still there. Pluto squaring Mercury is getting real about what you think, what you express, how you express it. It can be around issues of friendship. Mercury represents siblings and friends as well. Contracts and all these other kinds of obligations that we might have towards other people, commercial exchanges as well. So all in general, in our culture, in our society, money, financial transactions, money markets, all these kinds of things can also be in quite a volatile state around all of this, but that we're keeping this light and fluffy. So I'm just going to keep going. We have, again, another amazing conjunction with Uranus, the star of this month, where Venus comes along to Uranus at the same time as the Sun and Jupiter are together. So Venus Uranus can be a surprise. It can be something that shakes up some old musty, dusty relationships or issues around relationships that can be very beneficial. The Sun and Jupiter is extremely fortunate. Venus Uranus can bring unexpected good luck, unexpected change with money. So again, you have to see your natal chart. If you're having some issues with money, it's not like you're going to all of a sudden get coins raining down on your head, but at the same time, you can maybe find a solution, for example, to issues around debt. This again depends on your natal chart. But the Jupiter Sun is a fantastically fortunate opportunity. This is a day to be grateful to your teachers, to be grateful for your spiritual guides, to be grateful for people who bring wisdom into your life. That should be every day, but let's say, okay, at least on the 18th of May, and to really recognize where you are blessed. And so work through a gratitude journal, or just at the very least, wake up in the morning and thank the sun for your existence, because it's what we rely on for all of us. And the day after this, beautiful, beautiful new energy, which really is good for all of us. I'm very hopeful in terms of world events, that some kind of deadlock can happen. I don't believe that everything will fall into place at this point. I think we're looking more into sort of August, September before things can actually start to be put into place. But I really do feel like this month of May is when the tides are turning on some extremely intransigent and unhelpful energies that we're surrounded by. But if you have a new project, new beginnings for anything, this particular week of May is extremely good. This particular day, 18th of May, is fantastic, but really all the 3-4 days before and 3-4 days after are fantastic. We also have the approach of Mars to the North Node, which will be happening exactly the next day. Mars on Rahu, the North Node, is an opportunity to set new goals, to have a new vision for what action you want to take, what you want to undertake, and that's in an opposition to the Moon at this point. And so that Moon Mars is, again, it's with reference to what you're feeling, how you're relating to people, how you're relating to how you relate, as opposed to your own independent action or what it is you need to become more active with. And so this is an opportunity. See this as an opportunity to set some new goals, new insights in the Aries part of your life for the next 2 years, because this is Mars reaching out to the North Node, and it doesn't happen again for 2 years, and it won't be here in Aries the next time around. It will be in Pisces the next time Mars meets the North Node. So you will be having this opportunity again throughout the month of May in delightful ways, I think, to really set things in motion, feel that new opportunities are coming. It can be challenging on a global level. Mars opposite the moon represents the public. It represents the mood of the people. I think you're probably aware that the people are not having it anymore. 95% of the planet has one way of looking at the world, and about 5% of the planet has a very different way of looking at the world. And I think we're going to start to feel again, like I said, this big shift. Things are turning around in May. And it will be in ways that bring more fairness, harmony, justice, but perhaps, let's face it, through sometimes brutal means. So some people don't listen any other way. So let's see, have I, oh, and the Jupiter, yes, so we had the Jupiter-Sun conjunction, which is still in orb, and then the Sun comes into an exact sextile to Neptune. And again, that's very optimistic. It's very compassionate. It brings a lot of sympathy, empathy, and beauty. Again, part of that harmonious Venus-ruled Taurus energy that's so strong throughout most of May. And then we have also the potential for not entirely seeing with a grounded vision. So you do want to be careful, because Mars on the North Node can be, everything all at once, and lots of activity, lots of new projects and dynamism. But it might be that you're over optimistic based on the Venus and Uranus, and based on the Jupiter Sun, and then the sextile between the Sun and Neptune. I'm not going to get negative, just saying that you want to pinch yourself every now and then just keep checking that you're on the details, that you understand the implications of the choices and the things that you're starting. But it's a great implementing energy. You don't necessarily have to put all the pieces together in May. You just want to get things moving in a new direction, and you're going to find this fantastic boost. We're not quite done yet. We're carrying on a little bit, because then on the 23rd of May, we have Venus and Jupiter. So as if the Sun and Jupiter wasn't enough, we now have Venus with Jupiter, Venus in her own sign, another extremely fortunate time. So if you are thinking about playing the lottery, buy tickets, throw money at whatever is possible, a little donation. This will bring you added benefits if you donate money, if you offer through gratitude. Whenever the Sun meets Jupiter, whenever Venus meets Jupiter, donate food, donate money, donate things, nice things, food and abundant things. And also, if you should be inclined, then buy a lottery ticket and take your chances, because this is a lucky energy for many, many people. Now, again, luck has to be seen in the natal chart, so it's not for everyone, but donation is for everyone, and that always will bring you benefit. Now, again, we're also coming up to the full moon. So the 23rd of May, remember we had that moon on the 7th of May. Now we're having the full moon on the 23rd of May, which then sets the stage for, as we go forward, the ingress of Jupiter into Gemini. And as I am doing the Mars ingress into Aries on Mars's day, I will be doing Jupiter's ingress into Gemini on Mercury's day, because Jupiter will then be under the hood of Mercury for the next year. And so tomorrow, Wednesday, I'll be posting that video. And in the meantime, I will leave you with this. Oh, I have to just, we have to just say, we've got all this trining. Pluto, the exact Jupiter trine to Pluto comes a little bit later, but we see that the trine is building, and the trine between the Sun, Venus, and Jupiter is already very strong in action in the last week of May and the first week of June. A sublime energy for spiritual insights, for new starts of all kinds. And I just wanted to leave you on that note because we have gone through hell and high water in the last long time. And so it's just nice to be able to show you some extremely positive aspects in astrology that I think we can all genuinely benefit from. Dig deep inside, reach out and be there for other people. This is the connection, the energy of Venus, the action of Mars at its best, and especially with Saturn ruled by Jupiter at this point, doing the right thing and making the right choices based on truth, wisdom, and goodness. And I wish you a fantastic month of May. I'll see you very soon for the Jupiter through Gemini for all of you, and see you very, very soon for more. Bye for now.